Oh, hi. I didn't see you come out. No. So, hey y'all. Welcome back. My name's Trisha, aka Triz, and we are today talking about something a little bit different, a little bit out of my zone. After I posted my last video, just sort of about my normal makeup routine, I asked my friends to comment and tell me what they would like to hear about in future videos. And so my friend Crystal said, I appreciate what you said about keeping the eyebrows pretty natural, but I would love to see your take on whatever people do with made up eyebrows. Like, I'm not gonna shave them off, but I need to mow mine down a bit, and I'd like to learn how to color them back in and shape them. Alright, so, this is the intro, so you can see I've already did it. Yeah, this is super not my area of expertise. So I looked at a bunch of resources online, kind of gathered some tools, and we're gonna give it a shot today. I already kind of tried making this video, just really had a rough time of it, ended up losing all of that footage. That's why you're gonna see I kind of start with some of the job done already. We're kind of starting like Julia Child pulling an already done cake out of the oven. Let me just go ahead and throw it back to Trisha from like an hour ago. Okay, and we're back. Today the game plan, brows. We're going to talk about how to tame them, and the second half I'm calling maintain. Really, it's just what you'd be doing on a daily basis, like how you're going to make it up when you're putting your face together. To tame the brows, there's a number of different things, and it's the same stuff you're going to do with any kind of hair, right? If it's the hair on your head or like body hair, armpit hair. So there's 3 things you can do with it. Cut it down, cut it back, or get rid of it. So you can trim them, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, but it's literally just taking a pair of scissors and trimming the brow back. Then you can shave it, or you can epilate it. And I'm using epilate in the broadest sense of just removing the hair from the root. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. Laser hair removal, waxing, tools called epilators, which are essentially a bunch of needles on a roller that pluck a bunch of hairs at once, or you can pluck hairs individually with a standard pair of tweezers. And so I'm going to show you 2 different methods for that today. I'm going to show you just regular tweezing, and then we're going to epilate using something that's kind of trendy lately, but it's really an ancient technique. You know, folks in India, folks in Iran, for instance, have been doing it forever, and there's a reason that it's still done today. It's cheap and it's effective. And then maintenance. We're gonna brush the brows into place, we're gonna fill them back in, and then we're gonna hold. Again, just like you might use hair gel, there exist brow gels, brow pomades, brow wax, not in the sense of waxing, there's that too, but in the sense of holding it in place, that kind of wax. I am going to take a second and get my tools together. So let's have a look at the tools we're going to be using today. So we've got a pair of facial hair cutting scissors, and you can see that they're a little bit angled. A pair of standard sort of angled tip tweezers. You can get much nicer tweezers, but those are good. Here we've got, again, the ELF brow pencil. It's got that nice spoolie brush on the back end. That's very helpful. And then on the other end, you can see it's got that sort of waxy crayon-ish tip. Maybelline Brow Drama Shaping Chalk Powder. So that's going to help me fill back in as well. Again, from ELF, I've got the Wow Brow. All this is in brown. We're gonna try and roughly match my hair color. And then just a piece of thread in what let's call Billie Eilish, kind of a green color. Got a little ice bag. I'm gonna fill that up later. I'm gonna go ahead and put my hair up here. Always a good idea when you're doing work like this. I already kind of took a run at this because I wanted to practice There are a few techniques that we're working with right now that I haven't really tried before, even just down to this basic starting step. So before we really get going, we want to look at the brow and think of it like a sculptor looking at a block of granite. You're looking at this brow, we're thinking about our basic shapes. You can kind of find a list of them on the internet, but basically there's like an S shape, a sharp angled brow. You can do that as like a hard angle, or you can do it a little bit softer, or just a generally rounded look, a straight. I'm looking at the way my brow naturally grows in. It's not completely natural because, again, I've already trimmed it down a little bit. If I want to go with a really sharp angled look, the problem is we're already kind of thinned down, and so if I try to cut a sharper angle into that, it's gonna be a lot skinnier, a lot more of a 90s look, or an 80s, like a Nagel painting. So I want to avoid going too far down that road. But I think I do today. I want to see if I can't get just a little bit more of a downward angle. And then we're just going to kind of leave it, we're going to go for kind of a soft arch look, I think. We're going to leave the bottom alone for now. We're trimming it just up here at the top edge. We're going to brush with that spoolie brush. We're going to brush those hairs directly straight up. And again, you know, you can use a dry, clean, old mascara wand. You can use a dedicated brush. I just happen to like the fact that there's one built right into the back of my brow pencil. So I've got it tipped up. So I'm going to hold these scissors so that they're angled away from my face, so that, see, I can tip that angle in and still maintain control back here. So we're gonna go, and we're gonna catch those brow hairs, and just really anything that's sticking up above that line. Let's go ahead and get these hairs a little wet so that they're gonna stay. Anything that's going up above the kind of imaginary line that we're going for here today is gonna get trimmed. So and the goal here is just to get a little more definition. Okay, and we're just gonna go in on the other side, just swoop the brow hairs up. I'm gonna make this a little bit more defined. Again, like, I already, if I really wanted to walk you through the full, that was the full journey of this with me, that was a little thinner than I wanted to go, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. If I wanted to take you fully on this journey with me, I'd wait a good few weeks and kind of try again. But I wanted to go ahead and get Crystal's questions answered. I'm gonna brush that back out. I'm not completely proud of the job I did there. Let's even kind of balance that out just a little bit. All right. And just like trimming your own bangs at home, it's really easy to just try too hard to make the two sides match up. And end up Trimming it back way further than you meant to. Alright. Got one side just way more angular than the other. Like I said, this is not my area of expertise. I mean, not that I'm an expert in anything really, but okay. I am declaring that I'm happy with that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. I know I look red right there, but that's not really irritation. That's just kind of rubbed off some of the BB cream I was wearing. So, for the next step, I'm gonna go ahead and walk over to the kitchen. I'm gonna fill my ice bag with ice before we really tweeze the brow, or especially before you epilate, you do the threading. Just sort of ice it down. That's gonna help with the pain, because especially if you're like kind of tender-headed, if brushing your hair hurts, this is gonna hurt. It's not the worst pain, but it's not fun. Another thing that you can do, Amy Desai suggested it in her video on threading, is use just like a little baby Oragel. This is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how it would interact with your medications and everything, so just wanted to let you know that it's a thing that people do. That's gonna be my next step. I'm gonna grab some ice. I just love this ice bag. Cute little polar bears. It's from Daiso. I'm not gonna make you watch me ice my brows for about 5 minutes or so. I'm iced, got my tweezers here, and I've also got a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I am going to put that on a little cotton pad. You can use a little cotton ball or whatever. Just gonna clean off the ends here. Really make sure there's no old gunk from whatever. So we're just wiping that down. Make sure you get all the little bits of cotton lint off of there. Okay. So what we're gonna target here is mostly the hairs that are like stray, that are down here, more like closer to the eye, right? And you know, you might want to go in here and get some of the little unibrow hairs. And generally you want to pull them out kind of following the direction of growth. Oof. Yeah. So I'm just gonna... Alright, so I am going in on these little buggers. Down here, I'm just gonna pull it out. Oof. And just dab those tweezers on a little cotton pad or a paper towel or something to get that hair off before you go in for the next one. Now, I'm fortunate in that my facial hair was already kind of sparse, so I'm not super needing to do much, in my opinion, unless we were very intentionally like going for... Ooh, yeah, we're gonna hold that skin back. Oof, that's better. Unless we were very intentionally going for a super, super sharp, like groomed brow kind of a look. So you get the point. I want to move on and try the big guns. Epilating in a more effective way by doing multiple hairs in an area at once. So we're gonna try threading. So we're gonna take our thread here, and I picked this very intentionally so that you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. We're gonna tie a knot and pull that back just down towards the end here. Got a length of thread, it's probably about 2 feet all in all. We've got a loop that's less than a foot. We're gonna hold our fingers, we're gonna give it 1, 2, 3, probably let's go for 5, 6 twists. So you can see it makes a big X with a spiral in the middle. That spiral is key because we can kind of manipulate that by opening and closing this loop. So the way that threading works is doing that is going to grab on to the hairs and just yank it out, kind of in series. Just kind of everything in the little zone. Ooh. The thing about this is that you're going to discover, especially if you've got kind of finer facial hairs like me, you're going to discover more hairs than you realized were in a particular area. So, just gonna pull that loop tight there. And, ooh, yeah. And we're just gonna roll that over. That action is gonna yank it out. Whew. Let's try it a little more on this side here. Oh my God. Not really getting much because I already went over it on my own. Alright, I think at this point I am just grabbing bits of skin. I'm not quite positive that this is not my favorite. Oof. Okay. We can even try and get some of that up here where I kind of made that corner too sharp. There we go. And something I figured out that took me a while to figure out with this is you want to leave the end that's the direction you're going into, this end right here. You want to leave it kind of taut this way. You don't want to leave a big triangle that you're pushing against. That's putting too much force. You're going like this, and then close it. I am declaring that I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with this whole situation. this time around. Last time it wasn't so easy. So afterwards, I'm gonna give it some love. I'm just gonna ice it down again. Part of this is my makeup wearing off because I'm touching my face so much, but you can see there's some irritation. I'm gonna give it a little splash of witch hazel here. Again, just as an astringent, just to calm the skin, tighten it back up. Hit it with a little bit of moisturizer here. That's nice. I know I didn't have this in my toolkit, but you can buy these little face razors. This is mainly for brows, or you can use it to trim little mustache hairs. Oof. Yeah, if you don't want to go all out on pulling the hair out at the root, you can always just use one of these and just sort of trim the hairs off at the surface of the skin more than at the root. I don't really know what I'm doing. Yeah, there we go. So you're just gonna go kind of against the direction of the growth. You see the hairs here going right up, so I'm just gonna trim down. Move that back a little bit. And again, just kind of go over the zone in between that kind of don't want any unibrow creeping up on me. I'm just gonna clean my tweezers off again. We are done grooming our brows for now. Definitely got a more dramatic shape than I had before. A little more pronounced. Still not the evenest thing in the world, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and do my makeup. Then I'll show you what I'm gonna do with my brows to kind of fill them back in, to kind of train them to lie in the right kind of shape. Face is done. Except for the brows, I left that part alone so that we could talk about it together. So we're just gonna swoop with that spoolie brush. Just gonna swoop those brows into place. Just gonna kind of train those individual hairs to become a part of the whole. And this is another place where you kind of want to follow the style, the curve of brow that we talked about before. Okay, so now I'm going to take the other end. I'm going to take the cap off. And it's just this like little wax crayon bit. And what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of simulate a bunch of additional individual hairs. So we're following kind of the curvature of the eyebrow and of the individual hairs you can see within the brow. Just to kind of fill it out. We're not going to go too crazy. We're not coloring, right? We're just giving it individual strokes. If you've heard the term microblading thrown around and wondered what that is, incidentally, that's tattooing. So that's doing basically the same thing as this, except it's going to be a lot narrower lines and permanent, or at least a good deal more permanent. I don't know how long they last, but so you'll have just sort of additional brow hair looking lines under the hairs in the skin there. That is something I would be scared to do. Everyone's trip is their own journey. So next, this is a product that I love. I found it for super cheap at Marshall's. Marshall's and TJ Maxx are like a great spot to try new to you beauty products, because a lot of times they'll be on Overstock or over on clearance. There's a lot of knockoff stuff, a lot of stuff that maybe you wouldn't love, but there's some gems in there too. Alright, so if you look at it, it's got this kind of funky little applicator. So it's got a narrow side and a wide side. So we're going to start with the wide side. Again, kind of swooping, kind of following the general direction of the hairs and the brow. And we're going to switch to the narrow side for that little arc down. Just kind of shake it up in there, get the powder onto the applicator. I wouldn't call it a brush exactly. So we're gonna kind of, and then this is the powder's adhering to the hairs and a little bit to the skin behind them too. And again, the effect is just gonna be to make it look more full. You see that there? The nice thing about it is that it's kind of like a blurred effect, right? So it looks like there's just a little more bushiness going on there than there really is. We're tricking the eye. We're doing surreal things with our face. Okay, so again, just gonna kind of gently. This is another thing that it took me time and practice with. Alright, and we're just gonna define the lower arc of that curve. Okay, and I'm seeing here some hairs that I didn't catch before when I was tweezing and epilating. But again, we're going for the full effect, right? And we can kind of, there are some finer hairs here that I can kind of bring a little more drama to, brow drama, right? To kind of even this out. And just gonna dab. Fortunately, my blender is still damp. It's still got a little foundation on there, so I can kind of correct any overflow. And there, so we're looking good. But the question is, how are we gonna keep those hairs in place? And that's where I'm gonna use the ELF Wow Brow. It says on the packaging that this is a combination wax and gel. So again, it's not wax in the sense of hair removal. It's wax in the sense of keeping the hair put in place. And I don't know if you can see that. It's also tinted. So I'll have 3 kinds of color on here. So that's definitely probably overkill. I would use either the pencil or the chalk on a day-to-day basis, in my opinion. I just kind of wanted to demonstrate those options to you. So yeah, see, we're just kind of just like mascara, right? That brush has almost like little Velcro hooks in it. It's got stiff little kind of curved hairs that are gonna hold the wax and help it stick to the hairs. So we're gonna kind of twist as we go. Get that in there. All right, and boom. This is definitely a look. I kind of like it, actually. This is interesting. This is not something I have done much. Let's see it with the hair down. So, this is definitely not a look I've ever super tried to go for. I'm enjoying this, actually. This is different. I kind of dig this. a little more glamorous than I'm used to. So, thank you, Crystal, for encouraging me to try something new, to go out of my comfort zone. I hope you learned something as well. I hope you give some of this stuff a try. Natural brows are beautiful too. I want to say, like, beauty is all about the gestalt. Beauty, makeup, grooming, all this stuff, anything beyond basic hygiene is really going to be about the gestalt. It's going to be about how it all hangs together. You know, you've got individual choices to make. Like, if I was going to stick with this look, I would probably get back in there and try threading again or tweezing and really define the bottom ends of these brows. I'm probably gonna go ahead and let this grow back in over the next several weeks and go roughly to where I was before. I don't know. This might grow on me. Don't be afraid to try some different things. Don't be afraid to try grooming your eyebrows if you like it. Don't be afraid to stop if you don't like it. We're doing this for you, boo. All right. Thanks, and yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff's going to help me find new viewers, which is going to help me get the most important thing, attention. Thanks, y'all, and hell yeah. I need a real catchphrase. I'm dying. This is killing me.